Welcome back, everybody, to Serene Queen TV. I'm your host, T, and today we're going to talk about how all y'all don't need to be in business. Some of y'all need to be employees, okay? Please like, share, and subscribe, and let's talk in the comments. Thank you. Okay, let me get into it. This video is inspired by an Instagram video I saw the other day. I saw this video of this guy and he was doing like a skit talking about like his experience, which is an experience that many of us have had when trying to patronize a Black-owned restaurant, and how their hours are like so absurd, and their Google hours are wrong, and you try to call but no one answers, and like you get there and then if you are able to catch them when they're open, they really are sold out of a lot of stuff. So it can just be an experience. And then people in the comments were saying, Black-owned businesses really want to complain when they go out of business, but it's like, you were never open. And people were complaining about what else were they? Oh yeah, them being closed on holidays. Okay, so those are just some of the complaints that I remember off the dome. And complaints, I remember them the most because they are things that I've experienced when going to Black-owned establishments. However, this video is not to just drag Black-owned establishments, because in my experience, working for white people, working at white-owned businesses, they can be very disorganized too, especially startups. And that's when you really start to hear like white people complain. Like, white people's complaining of white-owned businesses is usually in the form of them complaining about startup companies. So just Black people, I just want us to understand that like our issues are not exclusive to us, like for the most part. The issues that we have in relationships and with the degradation of one another, that is exclusive to us. But the issue with like how we run business and mixing family and business and pleasure and, all that stuff, like it goes on in the white community too. They are known for fraud. They are known for stealing and crypto scams and, fucking up the stock market. Like, they do wrong too. People just acknowledge the wrongs differently. And I try to just bring both perspectives to my argument and to my conversation. So let me just talk about an experience that happened like on Juneteenth a few years ago. Some of the issues that I have with Black-owned business and like why we can't all be in business. Like, some of us have to learn how to be good employees first. And some of us are just never meant to be business owners at all. So a few years ago on Juneteenth, I was like super excited because I was like, okay, I'm going to go, go to a Black-owned restaurant and just hang out and like go to like just have like patronize nothing but Black-owned businesses today. Like, go hang out with other Black people in Austin. Like, that's what I was going to do. So I roll up to like the first place to go eat, and they are not open. And it is like they said they would be though. And they have like a bunch of people outside ready to eat. Like, that's the thing. Like, it wasn't just, me and like the person I was with. It's like a bunch of people also. And like, we're going up to the restaurant and they have a sign on the door saying they're going to open at about 11, but it's 11:05 and they're not open and the doors are locked and like no one's talking to us. No one's communicating. We're waiting. And, my mom, who I was with, she was like, you know what, we're just going to go. And I was like, yeah, because this is ridiculous. Like, why the fuck, like, are you guys not open? Like, you said you would be open, and like people are in the restaurant, but you're not opening the doors. Like, what the fuck? And you're treating us like shit because somebody should be able to communicate. And it's like, why aren't you open on time? Like, it's Juneteenth, it's a holiday. You should have known that you needed to be at work, like actually earlier than usual, so that way you have time to prep. Like, either you should have stayed late last night or you prepping so that way this morning you could be like ready to go as soon as you normally get there. Because I would be assuming that you would open your restaurant an hour or two ahead of time. That way you can cook and again prep and clean and just get everything set up and blah, 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 and everybody's at work and like you brief your people in the morning before you start work. Like that's the thing that like I also just have an issue with at workplaces. I don't know, like I know people come in at different times, but like people totally need to be like briefed before they come in, like before they start their shift. Like somebody should just be there, just greet them and just talk to them and like make that like contact with somebody like as they are coming into work. That way you just, I don't know, you need communication. But this restaurant was just completely not like ready to go. And so we just left. And you know, a lot of Black-owned restaurants like had issues that day. I ended up going to another place that was supposed to be having like a party and event. I rolled up. They didn't even have the chairs taken down yet. And I'm like, what the fuck? And like, again, several other people were there ready to party, ready to dance, ready to go out. And they were like, oh, it's early. And it's like, look, y'all said y'all were having an event. Like, how the fuck are you going to tell me where I'm early when you said you were having something? Like, and bitch, it's dark outside, like, and I'm ready to dance. Get the fuck out of here. So I have gone through it with Black-owned restaurants. I have gone through it with inconsistent food, pricing out the ass, inconsistent service. Like, again, you think they're going to be open, but they're really not open, or they just have really, really weird hours where they're only open like 5 to 6 hours a day. It's like, who the fuck is like going to be here during those times unless they don't have a job, or you know what I mean, like unless they're off their job, so they have to like catch you only like maybe 2 days a week max, which is really bad for your bottom line. And you don't have a website, and if you do have a website, it's outdated and it doesn't have all the information. And if you do have a phone number listed, when I call it, people don't answer, or the people who do answer have bad customer service, or like, it's just hard to get shit done. Like, it's hard for me to give you my money. And that's annoying because it's like people, you know, like they want to fuck with you, but you don't even have your shit together. And then you wonder why you go out of business. And it's because you didn't even have the basic infrastructure. Speaking of that, yesterday, this guy knocks on my door and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know it's somebody soliciting in my neighborhood. And it's like, there's a sign on the fucking like neighborhood sign, like, or near it, like when you enter the neighborhood, like this is a no solicitation neighborhood, like this is the suburbs, you can't just like solicit back here, we have an HOA. And people still do it, like it's insane. And like we can't call the police on them, it's like psycho. So I'm like sitting down, I'm like, okay, I'm like, hi, like who is at my door? And this guy is like, I just need to hear, and here he comes. I just need 5 minutes of your time. I'm like, oh my God. So I said, well, look, I don't want to scare you, but I have on a face mask. So open the door. I was literally doing a skincare treatment. I like open the door and I'm like, how can I help you, sir? And he's like, I am with this company. And like, do you have people who do like your termination or bug stuff? And I'm like, what? Like, I think I'm good on that. But I said, hey, look, do you have a business card? And he's like, oh, I don't carry a business card. I said, do you have a brochure? I don't carry anything with me. I'm like, oh my God. And I don't say this, but I'm just like, look, I said, look, I wrote down your business name. If I'm interested, you know, I will call you back. Like, thank you, you know, bye. Because just like, sir, like now I have to like do work to find more information about you. You know, he was in my neighborhood because he was working at my neighbor's house and decided like, okay, while I'm working over there, I'm going to go like knock on other people's door and try to get more business. And this was a Caucasian gentleman. But with all of that, I'm just like, again, you don't even have a business card on you. You don't even have a brochure on you. I would think you would really want to have a brochure if you're offering home services. That way you maybe have a few testimonials in there. You have your rates, how we can book you. You, of course, can have your hours. You have photos of the work that you've done. You know, a little bit about yourself, you know, all that. Like, you can go get those made at FedEx, and you can get a business account at FedEx and pay for your business needs with your business bank card and like write all that off. And you could be all good and like be professional and really get something nice made. So, I've been on both sides of it. I have, I've worked at FedEx, and I've also like been a business owner, getting business cards and getting other promotional materials made at FedEx. Like, I've seen other business owners do it. So many business people get brochures and banners and signs made at FedEx because they have a business account where they're getting a lot of that stuff at a discounted rate and they're getting to write it off. So there's so many resources out there for business owners, and the fact that you can write so much stuff off, and like there's so many perks and benefits to owning your own business, and you have so much control. Like, the point of being in business is to be in control and to do things how you want to do it and to do things the right way. I would think so, because that's my mindset as a person who does own a business, like who has gone out and filed paperwork and filed copyrights. Is because I want to do it right. I want to protect my business. That's why I file copyrights on my art. Like, that's why I do things. So, I don't know. I just feel like my people have got to do better. And, because white people get to fuck up, when they do these startups that go belly up, they get to start over because they at least had some of the paperwork filled out right. But, I see it from white people too, with, again, like having, drunks on the clock, and again, fucking, what's his name? Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, is a fucking whole crackhead, like, who was around highly sensitive fucking materials. So again, I am not that person. I am not the kind of suburban black person that just thinks all hood black people are bad or that just looks down on their own. I see the fuckery from both sides. I just want my own to do better for the sake of our community. Because we are the ones we're all we have. Again, us individual people are supposed to make up a community of people, and that's supposed to move on code in a unison. And like we could be so much further along if we did know how to properly run businesses, because businesses create jobs. And that just adds to the GDP, it adds to the economy, it betters us, it creates independence. There's so many great things that come from like owning your own shit and being a business owner. But if you're not a good employee, you're probably not going to be a good business owner. If you don't, here's what I told somebody the other day. I was like, a lot of people just really shouldn't be in customer service. Like just as a whole, like they just don't need jobs that involve customer service. And a lot of jobs do. Like working in HR requires customer service. Being a salesperson on any level, like whether you are a sales manager at a hotel, whether you sell cars, whether you sell boats, whether you sell planes, whether you work, people who work at Nordstrom and Neiman's, like, I've been a salesperson. I've worked a lot of different places and sold a lot of different things. You need good customer service to do it all. So, even as a nurse, like that's why a lot of people don't really fuck with their nurse and don't like nurses, because nurses a lot of times can have bad attitudes, be petty, have bad customer service, regardless of race. Like, I have dealt with that. I have dealt with medical providers who just like, and it be the nurses too, because doctors, I've had very, very good experiences with doctors. They're typically very sweet. They are nice. They are chill. They will give you extra meds if you want. Like, I've had doctors be so good to me in my years, but I've had a nurse or two who just had an attitude, and who I was just like, why does she have a bad attitude? Like, you're a nurse and I'm in pain. Like, you're watching me be visibly in pain. Like, why is your attitude so awful? So customer service it spans across so many industries, and a lot of people just don't have it. But I want my own people to really get it. And I think other things that affect businesses, which I see business owners failing with, besides again hours and customer service, is just poor management, no structure, no onboarding, no training. A lot of these businesses, all they have is an Instagram page. And again, it's just like, you like totally need to, you need to have a presence on Google and Yelp, at least, if you don't have a website. But you don't need an extravagant website, but That's stuff that people need to have. Like, you can just have a basic website that's functional, have presence on Google, have presence on Yelp, maybe have presence on Facebook, and maybe have a small presence on Insta, but you really don't even need the Facebook and the Insta. You really just need Google, Yelp, and some type of website where like legitimate people can get in touch with you, in a working phone with somebody that answers and has good customer service. And you need to have business hours, because if you don't, you can't get out when people call you at all strange hours. People need to know, no, my business hours are 9 to 5 or 9 to 9. It's up to you, because you're a business owner. How late do you want to take calls? And when you take a call, you should always be answering the phone like it's a potential client. But that's a part of, as a business owner, you have to have great customer service, and then your employees will follow. But another one I was going to talk about is onboarding and training. So again, people, you need to have like a clear, structured training program, whether your job is very easy and only requires a week of training, or it requires a month of training. You need to have a clear and concise training program with people appointed who are prepared to train, who want to train, whether that's you or other people who are going to help this person succeed. And you need to just go over more than just like, oh, and I mean, do you even have an employee handbook? Like, some of these places, again, where do people go? Who do they reach out to if they get hurt? Who do they reach out to if they have paycheck questions and pay questions and stuff like that? Like, proper onboarding and training is very, very critical. So those are things that I just want my people to think of when starting a business. You really need to be legit from top to bottom. And not all of us are meant to be in business. You need to be, if you run a restaurant, you need to be open on holidays. You need to be open late. You need to be open on weekends. Like, I don't know why Black-owned businesses do like weird things. And it's not just the restaurants, but the hospitality industry is a hard industry. Hospitality requires you to work a lot, and it requires you to work hard. And I think a lot of us just think we're just going to be cooking and selling plates and doing what we love. Oh yeah, we like to cook, we like to eat. I know I can cook, let me just sell some food. And it's a lot more complex than that. Restaurants tend to have slim profit margins, and you got to be hygienic. People cannot be smoking in the motherfucking kitchen. People got to have the right safety shoes. Like, that's things that come along with the restaurant industry. But I've also seen people who run some of these hair stores, some of these crystal shops, and these spiritual stores be having whack ass hours. And I get it. You run a shop that really don't require you to be open super late. But I'm thinking you should be closing at 7. You know what I mean? Like at 6 or 7 o'clock, really heavy on the 7, because you got to think about your clients. They need time to beat traffic. Like, a motherfucker might want to pick up a spiritual candle. I might want to pick up a weave or a relaxer on the way home from work. I get it. You don't want to have your shop open all night, but unless you just do. But if you don't, 7 o'clock is a good time to be, to be closing, because you got to think again, give your people time to beat the 5 o'clock traffic to even reach you if they're thinking about you. And you damn sure, most of the time you need to be open 5 days a week, and 7 days a week, no matter what kind of business you run, because people be off. People who work retail and who work nightlife and who work hospitality, they be off during the weekday. They want to go out and do stuff and buy shit on the motherfucking weekday. Whether you a restaurant or whether you, again, sell clothes or sell apparel or sell hair or do beauty, like, goddamn. And on the weekends, you might want to extend your hours so that way, because again, people are relaxing. Like, you got to understand the flow of the world around you. You got to understand you really need to study economics, study how people spend, how people shop, how people make financial decisions, when people do things. That way you can know when to be open, and know when you need to have more inventory, and know when you need to order less, and know when you need to have a sale and stuff like that. Like, our people, we gotta really study a little bit. There's nothing wrong with studying a little bit. I am I went to college, and I don't push college. I push going to your local community college and taking individual classes that interest you. So that way you can get formal training and education on the things that interest you for an affordable price. Because yeah, your YouTube University is nice, but I'm an interactive learner, and I think taking classes in person, physically, whether you want to knit or learn pottery and you want to go take a class to like be good at it, or whether you want to learn, again, whether you do want to learn like higher levels of accounting or economics or shit, what else could you take? There's so much stuff that you could take out of community college. When you go in, maybe you want to learn more about drafting or architecture. When you take those classes, it just puts you in the place, again, physically, that gets you immersed, that gets you engaged, and something to look forward to, and it's a mini commitment. And again, you're interested in it, so it should keep you engaged and committed through the whole class. Like, I've done that. I've earned 2 certifications outside of my degree, because I still had other things that interested me. I still wanted to earn more education, and learning, is a lifelong thing. So I'm just prepping people. I studied economics and English in school, so I know a lot about business, and I have an accounting certification. So what I'm telling people is, you guys who want to run these businesses and all this stuff, like, make sure you have like an actual solid business plan. Really go file the paperwork. Really go get a bank account. Really go save your receipts. Like, if you cannot show up to work on time and be a good employee and be a reliable employee and, do something, if you can't do that, like, you might not be a good business person. And if you can't work hard enough and put in the time to set up, again, the proper infrastructure to make sure that your business thrives and succeeds, you probably shouldn't be in business. And part of being in business is being open and having good customer service skills. So I'm wishing you all the best, to my fellow entrepreneurs and Black people, and let's talk in the comments. Bye.